So we are still considering converting common fractions to decimal fractions. I have this fraction insert, and we know what we call this. 1/2. Because we write 1/2 this way. I want to convert this 1/2 to a decimal fraction. I want to express it to the 10th. So I'm choosing the category tenths, because I have to mention the category that I want to convert it into. So I want to convert this 1/2 to tenths. This time around, I'm not using the instrument for conversion. Now I have 1/2. I can write that this way. 1 divided by 2. This by here means division. So what I have here is actually 1 divided by 2. So I'll get my 2 skittles out to show my divisor. And I'll get my 1 unit. This is my dividend. I want to divide this 1 unit by 2. I'll exchange this 1 unit to tenths. 10 tenths. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, 10 tenths. So I can exchange. So I have my 10 tenths here. So 1 tenth for you and 1 tenth for you. 1 tenth for you and 1 tenth for you. 1 tenth for you and 1 tenth for you. 1 tenth for you and 1 tenth for you. 1 tenth for you and 1 tenth for you. And we know that the answer in division is what 1 skittle gets. So what is the answer here? 5 tenths. 5 tenths. So we see right there that 1/2 equals 5 tenths. Suppose I have 2/3. 2/3. And I want to convert these 2/3 to the hundredths or thousandths. How do I go about it? Just as before, we can write it as a division problem. So this means 2 divided by 3. So again, we can get our skittles out and do the division. Two-thirds. So I have my 2 units here. I want to divide my 2 units among these skittles. So what do I do? So we can say I don't have my dividend. From my dividend we see I don't have enough units to share among the 3 skittles. So what do? I'll need to change these units, exchange them for tenths. So how many tenths will that give me? 20 tenths. So I have my 10 tens here. 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens, 10 tens. I'll get more 10 tens. I have another set of 10 tens. 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens, 10 tens. So I can now remove my units. So I have 20 tens here to share among my 3 skittles. You can go ahead and do the problem from here. I'm sure you can do it. 1/10 for you, 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 1/10 for you. And we have 2 tenths that we cannot share. So what do? We exchange these 2 tenths into 20 hundredths and continue to share. So you can go ahead and continue sharing, and let's know what you get. So we exchange it to the thousandths, and then you can write your answer in decimal fraction. So if you have done this and expressed it as a decimal fraction, I want you to also try these fractions: 9/16, 1/8, and 1/7. Express each of them as a decimal fraction and decide on the category that you want to express it as, maybe to the nearest hundredth or to the nearest thousand. You can choose the category. Now let's get back to this. I'm sure you would have done this, so you can compare it with what we are going to do here. 2/3. So I'll exchange this for hundredths, 20 hundredths. So I have my 10 hundredths here. I have my other 10 hundredths here. So now I have 20 hundredths. I can move these 2 tenths. So 100 for you, 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 100 for you. So I have 2 hundredths left here. What do? I can exchange 2 hundredths to 20 thousandths, but I want to round it off to the nearest hundredths. So I'll stop here, and I'm going to write my answer as divided by 2. I'm getting 66 hundredths. So my 2/3, can express it as I'm expressing it to the nearest hundredth, which means it's or 66 hundredths. Suppose I want to round it off to the nearest tenth instead of nearest hundredths. Now I'm going to look at this. When I want to round it off to the nearest tenth rather than the nearest hundredth as I've done here, I look at the last number. The last number is more than 5, is 6. So if the last number is 5 or more than 5, I will round it off this way. I'll say 2/3 equals 66 hundredths. But I want to round it off to the nearest tenth. So rather than writing 66 hundredths, I will round it off this way. This 66 hundredths, I'll round it off this way to the nearest tenth. This last number is more than 5. When the last number is more than 5 or 5, I will approximate it to be 1 and I'll add it to the next number. So it will be 7/10. So I rounded it off to the nearest tenth here, 7/10, and here I rounded off 2/3, 66 hundredths to the nearest hundredth. So as you convert your fractions, common fractions to decimal fractions, as I said, decide on the category that you want to express it as, and then accordingly round it off as I have done here.